Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Titans Return Deluxe Class Fracus and Scourge. Another character in the first wave of figures that has kind of created some controversy because in the original series, he was not a Headmaster. The North America Season 4 kind of made him into a Target Master, and that's what people really wanted, but I think for the story that's going on here, he works okay as a Headmaster. Packaging-wise, you got the nice open clamshell that allows you to see the full figure, his accessories. Down in the back is this collector card that has a full-scale image of what you have here on the back of the card. I really love how the cards are all different for the figures as well. Then you got an image of his space thingy mode. You got Transformers text there, the Generations logo. The back shows both his robot mode, his vehicle mode, and then Fracus in his little robot and Headmaster mode. And it says, the Decepticons unite with Titan Master partners to power up for battle. Fracus can steal the powers of other bots, letting Scourge harness whatever ability suits his sinister plan. And then you can see on the side, you got that crossplay where all the Headmasters can be interchanged with the different body sizes. So if you have Crash Bash, you can put his head on Scourge's body if you want, which allows for a lot of fun play value and some customization of your own figures. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it for him. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Scourge and Fracus opened up and out of their packaging. And again, like I said, this guy has created a bit of controversy because he was never a Headmaster in the original series. He was a Target Master. But what I actually like that they did is they included his gun here, which does kind of resemble his Target Master. Now, you could take Fracus here, which, taking a closer look at him up front, you can see real nice detail on him. Again, you got a real nice new sculpted body and everything on here. You got some silver and red paint there for his actual face. You got some lighter blue paint down here for his shins. Articulation-wise, his head is on a ball joint, very stiff, and that does come in handy later on, and I'll touch on that. But you do have a very nice ball joint there. The shoulders here are on ball joints, so you get a little bit of outward motion. They do rotate and things like that. He does have the hip joint, which it's not pinned in, which some are pinned in, some aren't. It's kind of weird. And then he's got a bend here at the knee, so you can get a seated kind of pose with him. And that does come in handy here because you can actually take Fracus and you can see you got the little slot section right there. You got the little tab on the back of his legs. You can actually peg that in there and you can kind of create a Target Master for him. Now, that's actually kind of cool. Now, furthering that kind of look, his Target Master was like a triple barrel gun. You can actually take this off, and this pegs in right there. And, again, you kind of got the Target Master thing here. Now, it hasn't made everybody happy, but I think that it's a nice kind of nod. Now, would people prefer him to be a Target Master? I don't know. I don't honestly feel that with this figure, the Target Master gimmick ruins or hinders the rest of the figure itself. For the transformation for Fracus here, again, you just fold up his legs and then make sure that you tuck his arms in. And there you have his head. And that is actually a really nice head sculpt. The one thing that I will say is that, and I think a lot of people have said, oh, you got to lift this little piece up as well, is that it would have been nicer if they gave him the black mustache. The silver doesn't look bad, you know, and then you got the silver for the rest of the face and then the red eyes and everything, but a black mustache and the little goatee thing would have been preferred, I think, just in terms of capturing that, you know, more accurate look. Again, the paint's not bad on it, it's just not as accurate as what we would probably want. So you do have that as an option. You can take this, you can leave this weapon plugged in there. It gives that little bit more kind of authentic, kind of weird space surfboard look. You can peg this right in there, much like the Target Master did. So you do have a lot of that kind of look that the original Target Master had. Now, for the vehicle mode, it does look great. This is probably the best vehicle mode representation of the Season 3 character Scourge that we've ever gotten. Now, we have gotten a good figure previously with the Generation line, and I'll bring that in here in a little bit, but that's obviously not, you know, the look they're really going for. The ugliest part's probably these little pieces on the bottom. They just kind of hang out there. I don't know. They become his shins in his robot mode, but if those weren't there, I mean, that would obviously give a much sleeker kind of look. I don't think it's terrible, but it could have been incorporated a little bit better, I do think. I don't know how they could have, but it could have. I do really like how on the inside of these little pieces right here, I don't know how well that's going to come across, but they actually do have some red paint on the inside here. I mean, you can see that it's kind of hollow, but they actually painted the outer rim, which does look really very cool. I like you got the little red dot there in the center of that little pylon thing. And somebody's going to ask me, and yes, you can do it, and I think it's hilarious because this little peg here is actually kind of molded where it's rounded towards the top, and then as it comes to the bottom, it gets a little bit more squared off, which is perfectly molded for Fracas's head. So yeah, you can actually take this, perfectly put that in there, and you can create that goofy look that he had in the original cartoon. I think that's neat. It's again, a nice little, you know, Easter egg that they threw in there. They didn't need to do it, but I think it does look cool. You can open up the front section here. This is a bit of a cockpit, and then again, you can take Fracas. You can put him on the inside here, and you can have them store there. You can put that right there as well, and you can have them flying around, obviously. So really cool looking. Now, for some comparisons, here he is. And here's that Generation 1. Now, like I said, he's kind of in this bomber sort of mode, which gives him a little bit more of a real-life kind of alt mode. I really do think that the alt mode here for the new Titans Return figure is much better than this. That's not to say that this is a bad figure. I just think in terms of, you know, what I want Scourge to look like, this guy right here has it. I really do like it, but you can see, you know, color-wise, it's not too bad. I mean, this is obviously more of a white. He's got this light blue kind of color. This is almost the light blue color that I wish Blur had, which is kind of strange, but there you have him next to another Scourge figure. For another minion of Galvatron, here he is next to Cyclonus. This again is the Generation Classic 2.0 version, whatever. And you can see, scale-wise, I think that these guys work very nicely together. They're roughly the same size. Now, I know a lot of people would say that Scourge, or I'm sorry, Cyclonus should be a much bigger figure because, you know, he's about the same size as Ultra Magnus. But for me, I think that scale, this works really nicely. So I do like this. And I think that the Scourge here is going to fit with this guy here in my display. Now for his transformation, first what you're going to want to do is take Fracas out just like that. Now this you can leave on here. I'm going to leave it on here just for the sake of transformation. You don't have to take it off, but you can use that also as his gun in his robot mode. So first we're going to come around here. We're going to loosen this up on the side like so. You got two little tab sections. One tabs in to the upper part of his shoulder, and then one tabs in right along here. So we're going to loosen all that up and then loosen this up as well. This tabs in right underneath this section here. So we're going to loosen that, rotate these out, get that just like so, and then take this entire assembly. This rotates around, and then you take this and you push this back up like so. Take these legs, well, make sure that's all the way down. Rotate these legs down, rotate them around like this, then take this section, rotate this back, fold this section out like so, and then these pieces come around and then tab in on the inside here of the outer portion of his leg. So again, you rotate that around. It does look a little bit weird, I'll be totally honest. I always want to make this the front of his leg, whereas this is actually the front of his leg. So you have to rotate this piece back, rotate this up like so, fold this down and around, tab that in, straighten these legs out nicely, and then again you want to make sure that the thighs, the kind of honeycombed section is on the inside, and then the smooth section is on the outside. Again, sometimes, I mean, and this is weird because you rotate this around and you can see that there's more molded detail on the back side of his thighs than on the front side of his thighs. I don't know necessarily if that's reversed, and honestly it's kind of weird because, like I said, this just seems like it would be the front of his leg because the foot is bigger than this. This is tiny, but this is the way that it's supposed to be. So setting that right there, take these little shoulder sections. Oh, let me angle down some, or I should say angle up. Take these little shoulder sections, swivel those down, come around here, rotate his hands out like that. Do that on this side as well. Rotate that out. Now you can take, like I said, you can position these how you want. You can leave this here on the back, or I actually like rotating this around so you don't even see it, so it just kind of sits down there. Kind of position these, making it look like his little cape section. Go ahead, take Fracas, going to transform him, and then peg him in just like so. Get that little crest piece up, get his arms situated, but there you have Scourge in his robot mode. And in general, what I think we have here is just an overall much better representation of Scourge. I think this guy turned out great. Color-wise, I think looks pretty decent. I do wish it was a little bit darker, but it's not a bad color really at all. There really isn't too much breaking up the color. I mean, you got some, obvious blue colors here. You got the lighter blue color. It does have a little bit of a swirly kind of look to it, which does look kind of neat and gives it a bit of a metallic kind of look to it. But there really isn't too much breaking up a lot of the color. You got a little section right here, which doesn't look bad. You got his Decepticon logo. You got the dot thingy right here, and then you got a little paint detail down here on his actual shins. I don't think it looks bad, but I do think, a splash of some colors would kind of help things out. He doesn't also have his very iconic red fingernails. I don't know if that's something that Takara will put on or not, but, some extra paint would probably look really cool. I mean, like maybe here a little bit of red bit on his thigh or something like that. Overall, I don't think it's bad or anything. I just think some, kind of paint variation would help a little bit. I mean, you can definitely see that he does have it. I mean, you got the molded parts here. They're in this bluish color. It's different than what the color is here, different from there. So, I mean, he does have paint. I just think that it would be nice to kind of break that up. But really nice sculpting on here. I love what they did here with the abdomen section. You got some nice panel lines up here. Now, mine, as well as just about everybody's, has a bit of a bobblehead kind of thing. Mine's not terrible, but it definitely doesn't sit on there all that well. Now, like I was talking about, it has nothing to do with the Fracas's actual ball joint. That's very stiff. It actually has something to do with the connecting piece right here not being pushed in as far as it needs to be, and it causes a little bit of a looseness here. I mean, like you can see, it's not terrible on mine, but it does have a softer kind of connection that does kind of make it bobble. You got his little crest right up there, but I mean, in general, I am really happy with how this guy looks. I think he is the best representation of Scourge that we've ever gotten, even in his robot mode. It just comes across very nicely. Now, for comparison, here he is. Here's that previous one that I was showing in terms of vehicle mode, but you can see that there is more of a breakup in terms of the colors here, but in terms of the overall look, I think that the Titans Return one does look better. I do think that if they painted his mustache and his little chin hair thing black like what this one had, it would probably look a little bit better, and I, again, would anticipate something like Takara doing that, but we're going to have to wait and see. But, the overall look for this guy's head does look really good. It's not that the Titans Return one is bad. I just think it would look a lot better if it had that extra paint detail on his mustache. But you can see that the Titans Return Deluxe one is a bigger figure, despite the fact that, yes, he does have a much more simple transformation than this guy. I just think that the new one just looks a lot better. I mean, he has this cape thing here. I just think that the way this is kind of designed, it looks a little bit better and a little bit more kind of reminiscent of how the actual character looked. But, people will say that, well, you can have Scourge in his sweeps. Well, no, I don't really like that whole idea, because this guy looks so much different than this one that it kind of breaks up that illusion. I mean, for me, Scourge was like the main guy, and his sweeps were like clones of him. This doesn't look like a clone of this guy, so this one is going bye-bye. For Cyclonus here, this guy really does look good with him. You can see that Cyclonus is a little bit taller, and I think that works very nicely. I like him being a little bit smaller of a character, just in general, but this really does look pretty cool together. And then when you take these guys and you put Galvatron there, that just looks great together. And finally, this is kind of like a Season 3 display that I am really very happy with. For Scourge's articulation, now, like I said, you do have the ball joint right there, so you get a nice range of motion looking left, right, kind of looks up and down a little bit, kind of tilts side to side, all that kind of stuff. So you do have that same level of articulation. The shoulders here on ball joints, you get a nice range of motion there, and you can even get like a swivel at the actual shoulder because of how big that whole shoulder area is. And then as part of the transformation, he does have a hinge that allows you to kind of lift his arm up like so. He rotates here at the upper part of the bicep. He's got a little bit more than 90-degree bend here at his elbow. His wrists pivot forward and back. He doesn't have anything at the waist, despite the fact that, I mean, he does rotate, you know, for the transformation, but that's just because the whole hip assembly kind of like slides down. So in robot mode, he doesn't rotate at the waist, unfortunately. He does have a swivel here at the hip, and then he has a little bit of a ratchet joint swiveling outward. He rotates here at the upper part of the thigh, bends here at the knee. I guess you could kind of say that he's got some foot pivot and then heel positioning, you know, so you can get him tiptoeing if you really want to, you know, through the tulips or something. Tiptoe through the tulips. Yeah, you get the idea. But in general, really very, very fun looking figure. I think he turned out great. As you can see with the other Season 3 Decepticons, he looks great with them. To me, I think that this is one of my favorites. I keep kind of saying that, and I should probably stop, because all of these first wave deluxe figures really did turn out very, very nicely. I still do think that Skull Cruncher is probably my favorite of the deluxes, followed probably by Scourge here, and then third would probably be Hardhead, and finally a Blur. But I'm really happy with how this guy turned out. This is definitely one that I think you guys are really going to like. And despite the fact that, you know, yes, he's a Titan Master figure, I don't think that the gimmick really ruins the overall figure himself. It doesn't impose its will, you know, kind of like the Galvatron one did, which, you know, takes away from the whole thing. You know, the gimmick here doesn't hurt the figure, I don't think. Now, to transform it back, we're going to take Fracus, remove him. You can take this little section, you can lower that if you want to, and you can just throw that off to the side to get it out of the way. Take the hands, rotate them up into his forearms like so. Take this whole assembly. You got a little, right where his armpit is, on the inside here is a little tab. You want to hinge this up, and then on the inside, just above his elbow, is a little slot. So you bring that up, and then you tab that in, keeping everything straight. You slot that in right there. So again, you slide this up, you take that little armpit tab, and you put that on the inside of his elbow. It's kind of hard to get in there because you can't really see it very well. So just fiddle with it, get it locked in there, and there you have it. Go ahead, take the little shin pieces, rotate these out, fold the actual foot down, rotate the heel like so. Do that on the opposite side as well. Just spread the legs, get them out of the way. Rotate the foot down, rotate this bit, then take this entire lower section, pull this out, rotate that around like so. When you do pull it out, you want to make sure you lock it into place like so. Then you take this entire section, rotate this around here at the thigh, and then you angle this back just like that. So again, rotate it at the thigh, bend here at the knee, and then rotate at the hip section, and then you can bring these all together. Keep these off to the side like that. Then bring these two sections together, squeeze everything, and this is really tough to see, but you got little tabs underneath right here that push into his waist area. So make sure you have this pushed together, and then push that all the way down right here. That pushes everything into place and locks it very securely. Keep those legs like that. Bring this down. You got a little tab here that slots into the upper part of his shoulder, and then this little tab will tab into the outside of his actual leg. So again, rotate that around, tab that in, make sure you get that positioned, squeeze that in, do that there as well. Rotate this down, bring that in, find that little section, put that there. Then you can take this. If you didn't have this attached, you would just plug this back in. I'm just going to rotate it around. But there you have Scourge back in his space surfboard. That's what I'm going to call it. Since it's a space surfboard, you do actually have some tabs right here, so you can take Fracus and, well, let's see, maybe put that there. Some of these little tabs are a little bit wider than the actual feet, so it's hard to kind of, some fit in there like this. That fits in, but that there, well, see, like that doesn't fit in there all that well. So you could do that though, and you can have Fracus on the space surfboard. But I do really like it. I think that the figure turned out really well. Like I said, I don't feel like the gimmick ruins or takes away from the overall enjoyment of the main figure himself, which I think is important. When you have a Transformer that has a gimmick kind of thing, you don't want it to hurt the overall enjoyment of the figure. And I really don't think it does with this. In terms of his spaceship mode, I think he looks great. He's probably the best representation of that spaceship that we saw in Season 3 and the animated movie. And as you can see, definitely has a different look than what we've gotten previously with some other released Scourge figures. Now, the transformation is very simple. I mean, I said it before, I do kind of feel like Hasbro's hit their stride with this simplified transformation in terms of having the transformations be simple, but actually working nicely. And then robot mode looks great. The only thing that I would really change would be some extra paint detail, just kind of breaking up some of the blue. And then I really do wish that they actually painted the mustache and beard for Fracus here to kind of give him a little bit more of that iconic kind of look. But all in all, very, very happy with this guy. And without question, I would recommend to you guys to pick him up. Now that being said, he, as well as the rest of the first wave of Deluxe figures, is starting to hit various retail locations right now. So get out there, good luck, and happy hunting. Or as always, in case you don't want to do that hunting, you can get them right now at Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS, where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the brand new Transformers Titans Return figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please like and share it. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way, you never miss a future review of mine. And as always, until next time, I'll talk to you later.